Hello, we're Aunty Donna. We're going to be doing a commentary of episode 1 of Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun on Netflix. If you are joining us right now, what we need you to do is go to your Netflix account, pull up Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun. If you search for Aunty Donna, that will be enough. Once you've searched for Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun, I want you to go to episode 1. I want you to scroll, rewind or pull all the way back to 1 because we know you've already watched it. Tee-hee-hee. Get it to 00.00. Once you have done that, we need you to sit on that because we are going to count down from 6 on go. So it'll be 1, go. Not on 1, on go.
On go.
On go, you press play.
We should have organised for there to be a time code on the screen or something.
There is.
What?
There is.
Oh my God.
There is. So you can see the Netflix bar at the bottom. You'll be able to see.
Here it is.
Oh there it is.
It's there. It's.
I thought you were pointing to your dick, Broden. I thought you were like, "This is my Netflix bar."
Oh, the bar.
Yeah, the bar.
But here's my fucking bar, and I am pointing at the bar.
If anyone,
I got my bar for you right here.
Right here. If anyone joins midway through us doing the commentary and they're like, "What's going on?" Can someone just explain to them to like find it on the bar and catch up? Because we're not gonna. We can't. Once we're commentating, we're commentating.
Yeah.
All right. I reckon everyone should be ready. Everyone's probably ready to go. Let's do this. Mark, are you able to press play on our one?
Yep. I can press play.
All right, let's do it on go. I'm going to count down from 6. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh,
Ba-bum.
of course, the Netflix logo. We designed that logo.
Dirty Papa did all the art design. They're a guy called Cameron.
Apparently, we use the same house as Mark Maron in Mark Maron's sitcom Maron.
Yes, we didn't know that, and some people have been tweeting him, and he has been replying saying, "Yeah, I don't know what that's about."
Yeah, he hasn't watched the show, has no interest in it.
Do you reckon Mark Maron is mad at us?
Yes. Yes, I think so. There's a couple little changes from the live version in the film version. For Everything's a Drum, but the Willy joke's still in there, and the cum joke. Remember how much the Netflix execs laughed at cum jokes in the read-through?
They just thought they were the funniest thing.
They really did. That's when I knew I felt I was at home.
We're getting a lot of love. There was the shot of my mother. I actually have a great relationship with my mother. That was Mark's joke, and I had a lot of audience interactions in the live version, so we cut my jokes and then I took Mark's mum joke. But I just want to know, I love my mum. Got a good relationship with my mum. Joe. But my good relationship with my mum is a drum, as per this logic.
All of this was shot on the first day, and I remember...
Yes, it was.
It was a good thing to do on the first day, because I remember we got there and we were all very nervous for a first day of shooting, and it was a good way to start, was just to smash everything.
It was, I remember... Lee Poindexter, our incredible production designer, we came in and the first time we saw the house fully done was on the first day of shooting, and it was so beautifully, everything was in such a great place, it was so beautifully done. And then the first sketch we did was this, this was the highlight of my life, jumping through that wall. That was the most fun I've ever had shooting anything.
Lee was so mad when you jumped through that wall, because that's a real wall. It's a full plasterboard wall with wood and everything. And Lee and Mark was just like, "Can we do another take? Point the camera towards the wall." And I'm like, "He's not going to do it." And he just jumped through that wall.
Legit. Can I just say something about this dishwasher while it's still...
Yes, please.
Charles still here. We hadn't cast Kristen Schaal. This was just a dishwasher, and we didn't know who was going to play it. We had no plans for who was going to play it. But also, I think it's worth noting that there was little strings and a hole in the wall where the puppeteers behind would sit. And as SFX artists had to go through and remove the strings, which was apparently a fucking nightmare. And the same man here, there was a little person sitting behind this, and they had to pull the strings, and they were, SFX'd out.
And working with
they were rotoscoped out.
Recording with Shaw was amazing as well. I really loved getting to work with her. She just came in and was so good and so funny, and we just threw the most ridiculous shit at her, and she really rolled with the punch-ins. So a couple of things. First of all, I love this intro. Do you remember the first time we saw this? When this was like done and rendered and sent through? It was just the most exciting thing. Done by Cameron Goff.
The philosophy for the show is often people describe this as a kids show for adults, right? And so the idea for the opening titles was it's kids, little tiny kids characters, and the music's really fucked and full on, but it's glitching. The idea of it's a kids show but fucked.
Yeah,
what we were kind of
that was always
for.
sort of the pitch for the design.
What were Netflix's notes, or they didn't so much have notes, but they were like make sure it's tight, make sure it's short, but there was also just like a vibe of like make sure it's like really colorful, but also not what we've seen before.
Yeah.
Like, was that kind of the vibe? They were like, we've seen lots of sketch stuff before. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we could talk about the characters that were cut from this sketch, because I think there was about another. The first one that comes to mind is Man Hiding in a Box. Was a character that got cut.
What else got cut? This fart gag, I think is fine. It's by no means the best idea, but every time we put it on in a room in front of executives or test audiences, they would laugh at that.
They would really like it.
It really got cut every time, and then every time it had an audience, it was like,
it's working. It's working. But these sketches are always very difficult to find the right order for the characters, because it is a little bit of a fine art. Getting the rhythms right, making sure there's not too many long jokes, making sure it starts quite normal and then gets ridiculous. The timing and the structure took a very long time for this sketch in particular. This was a lot of back and forthing, and
people will want to know about Randy and how Randy just wanders the earth. He's a bit of a nomad. He literally just floats around, and sometimes he just decides to live in the country for like 6 months, and sometimes he's in America. He'd done an American TV show, and he had a visa, and he just happened to be in town, and we saw that he was doing a show. So I just texted him. I said, "Are you in town, and do you have a visa?" And he said, "Yes and yes." I said, "Can you please come down to the shoot tomorrow and be in the show?" He said, "Yes." And Sam, our head writer, wrote some very quick little gags, just some little ideas. But it was literally, he was just in town, so we put him in. And it's been awesome to see how many people are happy that he's in the show, because he has such a diehard audience online.
It's also great as well because it just like sets the tone for what this world is in terms of puppets and stuff. I also just wanted to say about my judge character, my judge who's done a big bong. I've neither studied law nor do I smoke weed, so I had to tap into my love of chicken nuggets for that character. I do love chicken nuggets. And I remember Broden, he said to me, I was like, my God, I believed that. He looked at me, he goes, I really believed that. I didn't know you were a judge or weed. And I was like, I didn't, but I love chicken nuggets, and I knew that part of him. And I brought that out. I
had someone talk to me today about this sketch, and they were saying that this feels like it was written in 2020 because it feels like it's a comment on what it's like to Zoom call with people all the time, which I thought was very interesting because it was very much not written, just written about having like dial-up internet. Really was what was kind of the impetus for it.
When I saw this, because of COVID, we didn't get to watch this show graded up, which means colored. And when I saw this outside shot, I was really, really happy because I didn't get to see this until it was on TV. Zach, sometimes your hair is very bouncy, and sometimes your hair is like it looks flat there. Were you wearing a wig that day on something?
A wig.
Before?
No, what it was. Fun fact about my hair.
I don't know
as we say,
hair. I haven't had hair since I was 20. So
we get a lot of comments about my hair. So what happened was when I got my hair cut, I had a lot of flyaways. You can see the flyaways in Morning Brown because they were left very obvious because of the morning sort of thing. Because that was an issue, my hairdresser said to me, don't put your hair up because that's why you're getting flyaways. So I didn't put my hair up between getting my hair cut and the first day of shooting. And then because of that, my hair wasn't as curly or as wavy as it normally is, because I usually wear it up. And then because it wasn't wavy on day one, and it's naturally wavy, because of that, then our hair person had to straighten my hair every single day, every time I got it out of a wig for the entire shoot, and it was quite ludicrous.
Okay, these two old
Incredible.
people.
You asked about why is my hair flat. We'd say straight in the biz.
We're not talking about that.
Aaron Stoney, who was awesome. He's great. He's from Deadpool. He told us all these inside things about Deadpool. But these two old people, particularly behind Mark, are the two funniest people in the show. Australia.
There's a very Australian reference here. A lot of Australian references in this. This whole bit is a very big Australian, quite a niche Australian reference.
Channel 9 show called the Sunday Footy Show. And there's a handball competition. And at the end of it, they give prizes to the footballer who won.
I'm just going to say, extras in LA are like the funniest people in the entire world. They're the best.
Oh, there's nothing like LA extras. Nothing like LA extras.
Extras our age and under are like just the young actors and they just want to experience a set. Extras of a certain age are just the best people in the entire world. And I recommend hanging out with extras if you ever get a chance.
There's a shot coming up that we fought to have put back in. Like it was a real thing of like, we have to get this shot in. And it's of the extras running away.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's left in, but the lady gives up and stops acting.
Because we got them to run with their arms up. I can't remember who did that.
But we're like, this is a really funny shot. It's so this is all fine.
Yeah, she's given up. She's not running, but then she
stops. She starts walking.
This is one of my favorite little runs. This in the when I first saw this come together in the edit room, the end of Wi-Fi into this posters bit and then into Thought Bubble was where I was like, oh, I think we've got something really exciting and different for us. Something that we've never done before. Something that we would hope would work in the writer's room. Weren't sure if it would, but then it did. This was the most exciting bit for me where I was like, oh, I think we might have a show here.
This little scene here was the first dialogue I had to do, and we'd had all these discussions before. This is the first shot of the series.
First shot of the series is this. The first thing we did was rip the posters down, and then we did that dialogue bit, didn't we?
The dialogue came in, and we're like, we'd had all these chats about how we're going to work our ass off. We're going to come in prepared and be ready to go, and all this shit. Yeah. And then we got to that shot, and I didn't know my lines. Yeah. It was the first time I had to speak. I just didn't know my lines. I was like, oh my god! But then luckily, I'd been writing it for fucking 6 months, so I knew it. Alyssa Limperis is fucking incredible.
Gosh, she's so funny. This was so hard to cut because she just had like every take was different and every take was amazing.
And this was a real printing store, and it was shot. This is shot at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, this was very late. This was so we did all the location stuff. Anything outside of the house, we shot in a week, in 5 days. And everything else we shot in about 2.5 weeks. So it was a pretty tight shooting schedule. There were days where we were shooting 10, 15 pages a day.
Which is a lot.
Knows what that means.
I also just want to say another fun fact is I got my hair cut after we did all the photos. So any poster I'm on, any DVD cover, anything I'm on, like any photo I'm in, my hair is about as long as it is now. But then in normal life, it's about normal length.
Homelander.
That's a little observation for you.
The story here is lots of people said no to coming on the show because
so
they didn't
many
know
people.
Who we are, which
so
is fine.
Many people.
A lot of people went, no, I don't really know who they are. I'd rather not do it, which is absolutely fine and fair. But so we were like, fuck, how are we going to get people to be in this show? And then Sam, our head writer, had noticed that he was the only one at the time who'd watched The Boys. And he was like, I'm pretty sure the Superman character in The Boys is a Donna fan. I'm pretty sure because he likes Pud. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's just fucking ask him. And then we DM'd him and he's like, yeah, please, I'd love to be in the show. And since then, we've all gone off and watched The Boys and realized that we were doing... So when Mark and I are doing this scene, we know he's a great actor and we know he's awesome and we know he has people love him.
Yeah.
But neither of us have watched the program. So we're not, there was no gravitas to the fact that Homelander was grabbing my head like that and he could have lasered my head off, or the fact that Mark actually kills him. It was just like this lovely New Zealand man.
Yeah. And we finished. Oh, sorry, Preze. I was just going to say we finished shooting and then we all went and watched The Boys and then all of us came back and were like, oh my God. Oh my God.
About him being in it was we just assumed it was because he was from New Zealand. Like he must have just had a New Zealand friend that saw us on tour. And then he came and he was like, we're like, how are you a fan? He's like, because Jack Quaid's been a fan for forever. And then we're like, fuck, Jack likes us? And then we're like, let's get Jack in. And now it's our goal to get the entire cast of The Boys into stuff we do.
Yeah, we hope to.
And then eventually everyone from Amazon Prime. We're going to get every Amazon, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We're going to get into our next web series. We're going to get
you didn't really kill him.
What's this?
That's a fake needle.
It's a fake needle. And you can see him trying not to laugh here. Homelander tries not to laugh here in the close-up.
He does.
His face is slowly... and the first bin gag.
That's not really him. Gag. That's a dummy.
My favorite thing is I watched this so many times in the edit that I can tell you the exact moment that a leaf falls down through, like a leaf falls from the tree beautifully, because this was in autumn or fall, and I can tell you the exact moment that a leaf falls down next to Zach in left of frame of shot. Ready?
Yeah.
There
you go. There you go. Can I also just say... the second most impressive getting all of my hair under a wig, that sketch. Yeah. That's incredible that all my hair is under that wig. And the only one that's more impressive is South African Sam, because he's balding and blonde. And it's like quite intimate. It's quite, well, I see that and my head hurts from the amount of like tight braids and pins.
And if you have a look at the, when, Man Who Shits Himself is done, the credits that come up are the script for this episode, which I thought was a very funny little touch.
Braden, can I ask you a question of wigs? How do they keep the wig on your head?
They just put it on, and they maybe put some double-sided tape on, and that's
I thought, wouldn't they put it? Don't they put a little cap on, and then they hairpin it to the cap?
No.
Oh,
nothing. They just take my bald head and they put the wig on. They put some sticky on there.
That's very exciting.
There's so many pins in my head. Whenever I'm acting with a wig, there's 50 pins, and there's at least 5 digging into my skull.
So, worth mentioning as well, each member of this group has a different level of a higher opinion or lesser opinion on wig comedy.
Yes.
Zach White likes wigs.
Love a wig.
Broden's
quite a fan of wigs.
Broden's fine with them.
As I've gotten balder, they've become more important to me.
Right. I hate wig comedy. I hate it. I have a real aversion to it.
You've got to admit, the wigs on this show, because of LA union laws, there's not a hair and makeup person. There's a dedicated hair person.
Mm-hmm.
Your hair is quite small. Broden's hair is very small. That all they've got to do is straighten my hair. It's pretty much Zach's full-time hair person. So wigs look... I thought there was some wigs in this show that are pretty great, that aren't like wig comedy.
Yeah, look, that's true. That's true.
Different hair comedy, you know what I'm saying?
Because it's just us three doing stuff every time. So it's fucking important.
There's something I really want to talk about here in regards to this sketch quite specifically. This was one of the first sketches we got to see cut while we were still shooting. And it came up, and I remember seeing it and loving it. And the person who cut it was not someone we'd ever worked before. Their name was Santiago. I can't remember his surname. Do you remember his surname, Broden? Pardon?
Santiago Petroza.
Santiago Petroza.
Pedroza. He'll be watching this, I reckon.
And this is a guy. Well, he looked young. I was like, you're just a kid, but I think he was older than me. But it had a beautiful, youthful face. And he's worked with Absolutely, which is Tim and Eric's company before, and he's cut a bunch of comedy. And when this edit came in, the choices that he made were so funny and so interesting, and not choices that we ever would have made. And a lot of the times, we have to be very mindful. We have to keep reminding ourselves that when his edits came through, to not get in there and change them sometimes too much, because some of the stuff he did weren't choices we would have made, but they were really funny, really interesting choices. And so much of his voice has been left in the show, and I think it's a big credit to him. Part of the success of the show and the brilliance of the edit, of course, also goes to Max, who edited the whole thing with Santiago. But Santiago did the first pass on a lot of things and really opened up a lot of possibilities that I don't think we would have otherwise done without him.
With this sketch in particular, because we did like a playful take at the end where we were really playful, but because we'd done this live, it was a really, really tight sketch. And then we did the playful take, and I remember thinking, we're not going to use any of that.
Sorry, I had to point out.
Oh, yeah. Tom had 2 cameos in this show. One of them got cut, and we slipped in the other one. It's a sneaky little cameo. It's in this sketch. You may have just seen it.
And then Santiago kept a lot of the improv, kept a lot of the improv from that and made it feel more improv-y and more loose and less tight and rehearsed than it was. And I think that was a really good thing.
Massively.
That sketch up in a really great way.
Yeah. That sketch in particular. The fire's great. We had some great visual effects artists work on this show. Everyone who worked on this show just did such outstanding work. And it's Joe Koski there doing a little sing.
How did Cowboy get into this episode?
Well, I should say,
I can't remember.
Fun fact, Broden actually plays Cowboy. That's not a separate actor. That's actually Cowboy. That's Broden under that.
This is based on Haven't You Done Well Halloween 7, I think. And I just, in Australia down in fucking Werribee, we just... should I stop this?
I'm just going to say, Broden, before you keep talking, do watch credits.
Watch credits? I didn't watch credits. It stopped.
Oh, that's okay. We'll just keep talking. But watch those credits if you get the chance, guys. We'll jump to episode 2. The
Cowboy story is that he was just one dumb little... I don't even remember who said call him Cowboy, but I just put on some cowboy outfits in Werribee for this Halloween sketch. And he had I'd worn makeup for another character, so he kind of still had makeup on, and it was just an old Woody shirt from fucking, a costume shop and a hat. Yeah. And it resonated with people. It struck a chord with a generation. And but we were really, to bring him back, we were really, really finicky about Emily Ting, our costume designer in America, doing the same thing that Ingrid, our costume designer in Australia, did. So we made her find the T-shirt, get the hat, get the same jeans, and I went into makeup and I made them put makeup on me and then wipe it off.
And remove it.
So exactly the same.
Yeah, because you played for those familiar with the sketch. Broden played Ghoul Jim, or Ghoul Bob, I think he's then revealed to be, right before he played. We all, for some reason, when we shot that Haven't You Done Well Halloween special, we all played a character where we did massive black patches underneath our eyes, but didn't make those the last characters we played. It was in the middle of the shoot. So then we'd have to remove them quickly. And then...
It happens all the time with us. It's in this show all the time.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to start wearing a little bit of black eyeliner as my character for continuity's sake, because so that it's not this sometimes thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it is exactly, that's so true.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of episode 1.
That's the end of episode 1.
Thank you so much for watching.
Which was, it was really, when we were doing episode 1, it was really important for us that that episode for us is the benchmark episode in terms of structure. So there's other episodes where we start breaking the form and we start doing a lot of different things. But with that episode, we were as fucked as we are and as fucked as we think this show is, we needed to have a certain sense of something you can set your watch to. And so that's the most normal episode, I would say.
That's also why there's lots of shots of clocks. I'm sorry.
And ravens. If you have a look, there's ravens in every corner of every shot because we're always being watched, was the idea.
How did you do the speech bubble? And that was very easy. We just looked up above Zach's head and then someone did it in sound effects.
Yeah,
but
someone
Mark
else did.
Mark sometimes. It must be this. I haven't, and then he was very wrote a brief. It was so detailed. It was like a fucking manifesto
When
what the speech bubble had to look like.
When I write very visually. And I didn't necessarily, I don't think I particularly wrote this gag or came up with this gag, but I think at some point I did a pass on it. And as soon as I did, I just saw in my head to the thickness of the bubble from the side, to the color that it needed to be, to the sort of sheen that it needed to have on it. I was so specific, but we pretended it was there, and then in the same room we set up a green screen and lit it, and Zach did all of his speech bubble stuff in that same room. And then the wizards some wizards in Montreal, I think Netflix SFX did that shot up in Montreal. And they put it all together for us, and they were so open to notes and open to specificity. Thankfully.
We also had a thing about they're like, how much blood? And we went, a lot of blood, lots and lots of blood. And they came back and were like, but don't go crazy with the blood. And then they were like, okay. And then we saw him like, more blood. And then we made them put lots of blood in, and I love the blood so much.
I love the blood
because normally the little pointer, if you're ever making content, the temptation is to do lots and lots of blood. Everyone's first year of making stuff, they do too much blood because they get so excited. So what you learn in comedy is there's degrees of blood. Sometimes a trickle of blood is funnier. So we were kind of like, don't go too crazy with the blood. And this was one circumstance where we were like, nah. More blood.
Turn it up.
Turn up the blood, but turn down the fire. That was our two notes. Too much fire in the bin. That's right, everybody. We didn't make our own fire. We paid someone in Montreal to make pretend fire.
That was a visual effects shot. I said SFX before. I meant VFX. The people in Montreal did some VFX for it.
I think when you say SFX, I think you're saying special effects.
Oh, special effects. Yeah, yes, maybe that's why I was confused.
No, but I'm just imagining you're saying special effects.
Donna.
Aunty Donna's big old house of fun. We hope you're liking season 1. If not, get fucked and leave your dog. Just joking, please keep watching. Aunty Donna's big old house of fun. We hope you're liking season 1. If not, get fucked and leave your dog. Just joking, please keep watching.